Roy Latta, Tom Hitchcock, how are you?
I'm doing well, Tom. What about yourself?
Not too bad. I like the shirt. I like the background. I guarantee there's a good story behind all of this.
I think there's life behind everybody and a good story. But yeah, look, I am a bit colourful, and this is a nice Thailand shirt. I'd love to say it cost $1 million. It didn't, but gee, it's comfortable. No ironing, no ironing.
There we are. Well, there's a story enough, and you don't have to spend $1 million on a shirt. That's for sure.
Not when you look as good as us, Tom.
That's it. That was it. You've got the strong coffee too, eh?
I have indeed. Yeah, double play, going hard.
So you got quite a strong accent there. Whereabouts are you based, Troy?
Strong accent for Australia or a strong accent generally? So yeah, look, I'm in Sydney. I live in the beachside suburb of Cronulla. I love being near the beach and the water, probably why I've got the tan. I did live in Canberra for 16 years, which killed me. There was no surf, there was nothing, but it's good for work and good for a few other things.
Yeah, fair cool. Okay, and that's where you're from, Sydney?
Yeah, look, I grew up in the eastern suburbs. I've always lived in the beach, but I was lucky enough at about 22 to travel around the world. I think most Australians, and you know yourself from being a traveller, you've got to get out and see things and live in a different country to really value the world. So yeah, a couple of years around the world, bit of business, bit of backpacking, but unfortunately for me, predominantly in Australia, except for 2018 to when COVID started, I predominantly worked in Asia. I did a lot of work in Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, but anywhere you can hang your shingle is pretty good.
Yeah, I like that mentality. I've lived in 11 countries now,
Wow.
I definitely agree with it. It broadens the mind, but it's not just visiting and staying in a resort. It's quite the opposite. It's going in there, getting away from your own, and putting yourself in uncomfortable situations in an uncomfortable place. You know?
We're at 11 countries, though, so where has been good for you? Like, where was the top one and where's the worst?
Oh, I have to be careful who I might offend. To be quite frank, and I'm not much of a fence sitter, but they've all been really good for different reasons. Because the more I talk about it, the more they all sort of really shuffle anyway. But I've got a lot of fondness for Italy. I thought Italy is fantastic, and Holland. I loved Holland. I just had a good mindset. In all fairness, but what's wrong with Australia? We've got everything on our doorstep as well. Just a little bit too far from everywhere else.
It's a bit far. I mean, obviously, technology's changed that, and the way we keep in touch is cool. But the distance is there. I think the distance in the mind's there for a lot of people, and I think our growth mentality is small for it. You know, when you see some of the big numbers that get turned over in America, you can see why people have to leave Australia to make a few dollars. You know, making it big here isn't exactly capturing India by storm or China by storm when you look at some of those numbers. It sucks, but Australia's amazing. I wish some of those big people that make money in Australia would keep their money here, but you know, it's a global problem, isn't it? You know, there's plenty of people from the 10 million. You know, 10 million people from the UK have gone to live in the UAE or Abu Dhabi this year alone, and those 10 million were the highest income people because the UK put a wealth tax on, and they thought, oh, we'll get some more tax. And what they do, they go, actually, for the 4 days of the year that England's sunny, get lost. I'm going away. I don't even want to live there anymore.
I think I'm from the area where I get 5 days a year of sunshine.
You must be up north.
No chance up north. I remember when I lived in Scotland for a while, and the weather was horrendous. And I remember, so August is the summer month. That's the one where you guaranteed rain. And but the weather was really bad, and you do get lovely sunny days. I'm not picking on it too much, but I remember looking at it because there were rain clouds there on the 1st of August. I watched the sky for the whole of August, and I waited to see if I'm going to see the sun at all. And I didn't see the sun. I saw it either side, but the whole of the summer month, I didn't see the sun once in Glasgow, which explained a lot.
It does. It does. Okay, and that Drick weather and that mentality you have, you know, it's funny because when you said like Netherlands and stuff was good, you go much further, and the countries are amazing. You know, Finland, Denmark, the people there, the concept, the way the government rallies behind. But you still only have 3 or 4 days of sunlight in winter, and you think hours. Like, who is doing that? No wonder they drink and have other social impacts that are terrible over there. Because, man, you need sun. You need some sun.
You just need, for me, you just need variation. Like we had the storms last week in Sydney, and they were big storms. In all fairness, they really were. And I enjoyed them. But if you were getting them all the time, it'd be a problem, you know. You just need that little bit of variety so you can enjoy. You need to, change your outfit, plan your day.
Yeah, I think it makes a big deal. I mean, I don't want to say I couldn't live in Greece and have 35 degrees every day and get used to just wearing, flip flops, jandals, thongs, whatever you want to call them. But yeah, there is something about looking forward to it. English people love it, especially. I find a lot of English people in Australia, they miss the seasons. Oh, you've only got hot and hotter, or you've only got cold and hot. You don't have all of them. Spring's super important. I think you have to have lived through a shitty winter to appreciate how good spring is, and it's amazing then.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And okay, all right, I did think about going off into segue into UAE, but I've decided against it for now. It may resurface, but we're talking spring. We're talking about the rejuvenation and when some warmth comes back into our environment. I can't help but look at your background now. Okay, so tell us a little bit about the blocks you've got there. They can't go without explanation.
I wish I'd put a lot of thought into it now you've asked me, Tom, because trying to look at them in reverse and seeing what they are, I probably won't do them justice. But look, I started Tech for Humanity after Amazon lifted me. I really liked a lot of the work I was doing in Amazon and Gartner and Oracle. Those really big companies that have big wallets have amazing projects, and some of those are really good for communities as well. Tech for Humanity got set up to try and focus on those things, and it probably brings back a bit of that story about the Australian investor scenario. I hate the fact that there's so many good ideas here, and we just have to give them away. So part of what we do is try and find local people who have good products and need a route to market, and we either work with them to grow that market. Sometimes we invest in them. Sometimes we just put sweat equity into them. But a lot of the time, it's just hard work, getting out there, meeting people, introducing people, and then actually finding if the entrepreneurs want to take that next step. The other side of it is we bring a lot of technology to Australia to help Australians, and we focus on probably 3 or 4 areas. Humanity's huge, and I'd love to help everyone, but I focus on autism. I've got a daughter who's got autism, so for me, it makes me understand how simple and hard life is. And even when I was working at Amazon, I worked in the Alexa team at some point, and helping neurodivergent people through glasses, because they all wear glasses and things, a lot of them do, reminding them to go to the bathroom, reminding them to take their pills, simple things like that for $20, $30, you can change people's lives. So if you can extrapolate that and you can look at water, you can look at the elderly. I'm not a big fan of elderly. Unfortunately, there's just going to be too many of them, so we need to do something about them. But mum and dad, I love you, but I hate old people. Like, they're just pains. But to be honest, they're so necessary, and there's going to be such a drain on society that I want to help them as well. And so, look, I focus anywhere with technology people. I like water because I've grown up in the water. So if I can make it clean, or I can make fish better, if I can use robots in good ways, these are areas, I suppose, that I've taken the eyes out of all the customers I've worked with over the years and kept some of their good ideas. And now those of us that I suppose that are mature enough to pick a few things we'd like to do with our side time or side hustles, mine's people and technology.
Yeah, love it. Okay. I love the combination, love the story. I think you got quite impassioned when you were talking about it. You could hear the difference, which is nice. I think lived experience really, really pushes that one through for sure. So what's the future of that for you? Is it well established? Is it a passion play? I'm giving you loaded questions here, but
well, I'm happy for the questions, Tom. It makes me think about it as well. And I came back this January refreshed after Christmas and put a lot of thought into what I want to do. And I need to make it a bigger than a passion play. At the moment, I'm a full-time employee. I earn wages just like the rest of us. So I give them 50 hours a week and work really hard. And then I do other things, like I'm not a massive TV watcher. I'm not a Facebooker or whatever. So I put my time into either other businesses or other people. I do a lot of people work, you know, a lot of coaching, a lot of mentoring, a lot of business development, strategic foresight thinking. And those things to me actually are more exciting than sitting down and watching Neighbours or whatever we're doing, you know, unless it's really good sport. I can't see myself in front of the box. When we grew up, probably not so much you might be a bit younger, but you know, we grew up learning one-to-one. The teacher would talk to you and you would just listen, and that would be it. Then we get to a bit older and we had a radio or a wireless or a stereo or a tape deck or whatever playing, your parents would say, how could you study? You know, now I walk upstairs, honestly, there might be 10 devices going on while the homework's going on. And I know there's no deep learning, but it's probably enough to get through schooling and make that work. The education system's failing, not so much me as a parent, I think.
You know what, you touched on something there, and I've talking lived experience. So you go into schools these days, it's screen time left, right, and centre. They know how to bypass and to play their games and stuff. They're smart at that, and it's actually really depressing to see. Because I remember when we had a separate room, it was the computer room. We had computer studies, and it was great big, massive monitors that did very little. But it was exciting. It's gone full cycle on that. But and I can't help but worry about the future for that reason, because of the screen addictions and among other things. But I have to say, I have to contest one of your points, and everything's interpersonal, isn't it? So it's logical to think that if devices are on and someone's learning or whatever, they might be, it's like listening but not active listening, for example. They're not taking it in. That's logical. However, when I do my best work, so I'm writing books, I do all sorts of stuff. Okay, when I want to do that, I need to have a television on the background. Which it has to be a shitty program.
Yeah,
I'll pay attention to it.
yeah.
Not as bad as Neighbours, but somewhere in the middle, because I'll then something that won't get my attention, and then I can focus because I've got something to ignore, and it really gets the best stuff out of me. Whereas if it's too silent, that's good maybe for meditation or something. But it's not good for me to get the juice flow, which is peculiar because it goes against the grain. So I'm doing
Yeah, I think that's 100% true for a lot of people. That's why there's ASMR and white noise is popular. You know, quite regularly, if I have to do something important and do that, I'll put rainy music on. I'll just go for thunderstorms, or I'll go for waves. And, you know, all that sort of hippie soundtrack back in the day of jungle sound forests or something, you know, like somehow that in the background you can do with, and you can do with, like you say, white noise, you know, morning TV or something rubbishy just in the background. And I think you're right. You are consciously ignoring something to focus on something, which is really weird energy. Like, I don't know how that works. Someone will probably write in and tell us about that later and explain how that works. But that's a really interesting phenomenon. I don't know. We were laughing yesterday saying that in the old days, or our days, you used to get sent to your room for your punishment. We're now sending our kids to spend time with us for punishment because their rooms are fantastic. There's TVs, there's iPads.
I like that.
Yeah, my daughter's even got a little fridge, a little mini fridge in there. And it's like, dude, I'll never see her again. And so, yeah, yesterday she did something. I said, okay, half an hour punishment, you're sitting with us. And she's like, that's weird. You people are weird. We're like, that's what the world's come to. We've got to punish you by making you spend time with us.
That's just it, isn't it? We've got that one with this. Well, my son's 10; he doesn't have a phone, but you know, the people around us, we lock and key down their phones, and we take them off screen time. We get them outside, like we had to fix the mower the other day, so we took that to pieces. You know, and just literally, this problem solved. Give a 9 out of 10, we fix it, but they think they've fixed it too, and they take so much from doing.
Well, I mean, that is the quintessential YouTube, isn't it? That's what it should be for versus half the other rubbish it is used for. But, you know, the fix-it video for amateur dads and mums at home who are just hopeless, like the amount of things I've saved money on because of a YouTube video. And you're right, that satisfaction of doing it is, I remember it as a dad, you know, as a kid going down with dad, even if I was just handing the screwdriver, we fixed it, didn't we? You know, there's something in that for sure. I grew up thinking my dad was really good and handy. He was hopeless. So well, a bit of advice out there for all the dads. You've got your kids bluff. Just get them to hold the screwdriver and they'll think you're a bloody whatever, mechanic.
And that's so true. And it's just that leading by example. And what you need to do, it is not just the legacy, it's also about creating an environment where things are better when your back's turned. Okay. So this time's the kid. What are they doing when you're not looking? You know? And I suppose in essence that is your legacy, but then it's not just your kid, it's your people you work with around you, your loved ones, the people you've met for the first time. You know, are they smiling since they've just bumped into you and what have you?
Imagine that as a measurement versus likes or whatever, or dollars in the bank. Amount of smiles I gave off today. Like I'd live for that. I can't imagine. See, I'm not a brand person, and I wouldn't wear something unless I was paid to wear it. You know, if I'm, yeah, well, that's it. You pay me to wear it. You know, I'd wear it. But I'm not a tennis player. I'm not a football player, so I'm not going to wear those things. And I'm not. But I would wear something that said, "Let's smile more. Give me a hug." You know, like I think those messages need more power out there than brand A or B.
Okay, listen, I want to pull back into Amazon here.
Oh,
Okay. I've got the rainforest noises. It's my white noise now. I've got a little bit of vegetation behind.
okay.
We've got a little bit of game in your shirt, so I can't escape the jungle. All right. But we've got some tech for humanity. Okay, and you've got your focal areas and what have you. What's your thoughts? And Amazon is famous for this, as will other conglomerates, on the circular economy.
Ooh, it's a big question and it's a big brand. So let's probably define what the circular economy is. Is it just reusing everything we make to the best ability and for
So it
the
goes. So by definition, a circular economy, which is a big thing at the moment, is when it literally does go full cycle. So it's not a case of like, okay, here's our plastic bottle, and now we incentivize you to recycle it. We need it to go all the way around, so it ends up being a shoe or something. Like it just and we reset it, so that there's no wastage or what have you. So I've seen a few of these, and I look at them with hope, but with a cynicism. You know, I see these gaps, and I just and I don't know, but the big conglomerates are big on it because they want to be seen to be doing circular economies.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between wanting to be seen and actually doing stuff. So all of the major people, I think they manage a lot of it through their supply chain, and sometimes it comes off as being circular and more efficient, and other times it's just a shareholder play. I think for me, it works really well when it's planned, and I think we're going to have the ability of that with technology. And I'll give an example of a company called Circonomy in Australia. They're based in Queensland. The CEO is a lady called Yaz, amazing person. Um, she had a contract with her company for the Women's World Cup when it came to Australia. So the soccer came out, all these teams come out, they need beds, they need massage tables, they need whatever. You know, you've got to think that there's a whole city comes in. Yaz and the Soccer Federation of Australia and the way they procured everything, every single thing that got bought for that thing got reused and rehomed. So beds, printers, flag poles, every single thing. So that was pretty circular for a lot of degrees to the fact that it got rehomed. But that's not what you're talking about. That's only the first part of it, because you actually then need that second part of what happens after it's been rehomed and recycled, and how do we get to reuse it again the next time. And I think the investment isn't there at the moment from those big conglomerates you're talking about. They're racing to try and solve heating and cooling for their AI. I think one of the scary things at the moment is Zuckerberg's just put up funding for a nuclear power plant. He's about to have his own nuclear power plant. So who do you want to trust in the world? But you can see that cycle to change energy is changing their investment, which is why they're all green in that way. They're not looking at circular economy this way, even when it comes to the reuse of or the greening of IT when it gets reconstructed. It's a terrible supply chain that's not there. But again, just like crushing tires or plastic bottles or computer bits, once that they realize there's a gold bin in it or something, someone will make money out of it. Traditionally, it'll be in a third world country where you've got rubbish pickers coming out, and someone will say, "Hey, we can make money too." Watch China lead the way on that as well. You know, for years they've taken the world's rubbish, and we thought they were silly. They've turned around and made money out of that again. So
there we are. Perhaps China have mastered the circular economy, because I think what I'm picking out there is similar cynicism, but it seems to be that there is circular economies, but they're surface level and they're not really scratching the surface. They're there for sort of publicity reasons more than anything. Okay. But the other ones that are there, they probably do exist, but it's because it's on their terms. It actually works out well for them. It does actually make them money. This one makes sense.
see the chains that are heavy polluters of products, office furniture, bedroom furniture, white goods. They're starting to get onto it because they have to, but they also provide a benefit. You know, if you're going to get a new fridge, I may as well take your old fridge away from it. It saves you that hassle. But now they've got to do something with that. And until there's legislation and money, and China blows us all away on this, and I don't want to over focus or pivot on them, but you know, they just see a problem and invest in it. We see a problem and go, shit, what do we do? That's someone else's problem. And we're going to get a lot better in it. We have to, and I think the complexity is what stopped us. But again, computers and AI and all that things fix of it. And I think of computers as just tables. You know, if you got a table of information, I can get another bit of information, then anything's possible. But you're just seeing the connection of everything from. We won't be able to go to a menu, a restaurant next year, and you will see everything on the menu that won't just say cod from Murray River. It'll say Murray River cod from the geolocation of it. And everything you buy of the bread, you'll only know that the bread's got 50% water. Where did that water come from and what was the makeup of that water? Once you start getting the supply chain gets to that, and so the supermarkets getting involved, they're another greenwasher, if you want to talk about it. They talk all the time about helping farmers and that stuff. It's rubbish. But, you know, they're profitable businesses and delivering to their shareholders. So which side do you sit on?
Exactly, and that's the way we've got to look at it. You've got to look at it in its entirety to understand the decisions being made. I've actually got a friend who, I won't say his name or the business because it wouldn't be fair, but he provides walnuts, lamb, and all that sort of stuff to Woolworths on a national scale, and it goes international. It's massive.
Yeah.
And he talks about the difference between the organic and not. So that his lamb there, it goes for both organic and not organic. It's the same. It's the same animal, but they've just repackaged and repriced. It goes a lot of what you find when people don't qualify for organic and they would like to. For example, they've got an orchard. Okay, they'll spray it with copper. Okay, because that's a natural substance and that's a pesticide, and you can see it on there, but it actually does more harm than the pesticide on it. It's actually really interesting conversations on the way people are getting around. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a defense term called the OODA loop, Observe, Orient, Decide, Act. And if you're the legislator, you're acting so much slower than anything. You know, in farming, I need to find a way around it. I find it this way. By the time the law catches up and you do it, it's too slow. And as the law does, we're really good as humans as sort of putting a gap in. You don't slide back. So we ratchet it. Okay, there's a new law and we'll never go back. But then someone finds something else and then we ratchet that and then that. But we're never going to stop as humans trying to find a way to get to market. Or, I mean, I bought something this week off Temu and I hate it. Like, it's just a shitty, useful, rubbishy platform. And, you know, the society of, oh, that shirt didn't work, I'll throw it away because it was only $2.50. I hate it. But some stuff on there just turns up and you think, yeah, that's the right price. It should be $6. Why is that $600? You know, it's just plastic. And I think those sorts of things help us open our eyes up to just what we do at home and how we need to do things. And a lot of, even just getting back to technology and stuff, you know, it has to be there to help us, you know, whether it's old people, us as human beings. There's so much of it's rubbish. If we can decipher or get it to help us, or get our agents that we're creating to help it just to talk to us about what we want, we're much better off. We're going to get rid of a lot of the noise and hopefully get back to thinking. You know, occasionally you have to think. You can't just be told everything. You have to think.
It's actually an interesting point. So a term that's thrown around a lot these days is mindfulness, and it's got a close association to meditation, which is right. But I remember listening to this, and it's come up on a different podcast, with different recording recently. So there's a little bit of repetition on my part, and they said it was on a comedy show in the UK. That was it, and they said we all used to be mindful because we didn't have mobile phones. If we're going to say we're meeting someone in the pub, okay, we'd usually be there, but sometimes we'd be running late. So you'd sit there with nothing to do and you'd be mindful. You'd be there alone with your own thoughts. We're very good at it. We didn't realize we were borderline meditating every time because we don't know where someone is because we have no other distraction or no other immediate way of contact. And now, obviously, what happens, you see people, they get that 2 seconds, they're down, they're poking, messaging, scrolling, buying, whatever it may be. So they've removed that mindfulness, that skill of thinking.
Have you gone into that cold dogging or hot dogging or whatever they call it, where you purposely put your device away and you do it like, I mean, there's extremes. Like you could do it for half an hour, but I saw someone did it on a flight the other day for 20 hours. I'm like, just sat there, no TV, no whatever. And like, that's like, you're doing that for show or whatever. But I do agree that mindfulness is, I wish it used to be a good word, Tom. It used to mean something. It's just like thought leader, expert, like you can call yourself whatever. And I like it. There's some amazing people out there you'd never have heard of because they're experts, but there's a lot of us experts, me included, that, I mean, what have I got to say that I'm an expert apart from the scars on my face and, everything else?
So that unfortunately takes us to a wrap. Anybody listening to this and they would like to make contact with you on your topic, yourself, your solutions and what have you, what would be the best way for them to make contact with you?
Yeah, Tom, the easiest way is LinkedIn. I'm prolific on there. I think I've got enough followers to open up a few stadiums, and I like it. I actually would ask people to jump on me and pressure me, push me to write different topics, push me to ask questions, push me to think about stuff. I'm not here to sell products or services, but I love having a chat. So even call me for a chat or a podcast, just like Tom did. Happy to.
It's too easy. Thank you very much.
All right, Tom.
Thank you for watching this episode. I hope that you did enjoy it, had lots of takeaways from it. As before, please subscribe below so you can keep on top of any new releases we have. And also, if you would like to have your story told, just reach out with me and I'd love to give you that platform. My best email address is tom@purplepatchconsulting.com. Thank you.